Stop. Before you get angry, hear me out. 9 African teams at the 2026 World Cup. 9 in the knockout stage. More than any continent has ever achieved in a single tournament. Morocco reached the semi-finals 4 years ago. Egypt, Cape Verde, DR Congo, all writing history. Africa is producing some of the greatest footballers on the planet right now. And yet, in 96 years of World Cup football, not one African nation has ever lifted that trophy. Not once. So I'm asking the question nobody wants to answer. Why? And who is really to blame? Argument 1. The system was never built for Africa to win. For decades, Africa was given just 2 or 3 spots at the World Cup, while Europe had 13. 13. Think about that. A continent of 1.4 billion people, 54 nations, more football talent per square mile than anywhere on Earth, and they were given 2 seats at the table. While smaller European nations with populations of 5 million walked into the tournament freely. The 2026 expansion to 48 teams finally gave Africa 10 spots. 10. And immediately, 9 of those 10 teams reached the knockout stage. 9. What does that tell you? It tells you Africa was never short of quality. They were short of opportunity, deliberately, systematically, for 90 years. Argument 2. Africa's best players are being developed for everyone else. Kylian Mbappé, born in France. Parents from Cameroon and Algeria, playing for France. Achraf Hakimi, born in Spain, raised in Madrid. Parents from Morocco, plays for Morocco. But how many players of African descent are developing European nations instead of the continent that made them? The best African coaches poached by European clubs. The best African scouts working for Premier League academies. Africa produces the raw material, Europe refines it, brands it, profits from it, and then beats Africa with it at the World Cup. That is not football. That is extraction. And it has been happening for generations. Argument 3. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has spent more energy on internal politics than developing the game. Corruption scandals, poor infrastructure investment, a Champions League that still cannot compete financially with Europe's elite competitions. While UEFA pumps billions into youth development, training facilities and coaching education across the continent, CAF has repeatedly failed to match that investment at home. Africa's best young players leave their home countries at 15, 16, 17 years old, not because they want to, but because there is no infrastructure to develop them at home. No proper academies, no consistent league quality, no financial stability. They leave and they never come back. Not for Africa, for their new nations. Argument 4. African teams still arrive at World Cups underprepared. Look at this tournament. Senegal lost their first 2 group games, needing a 5-0 win to scrape through. South Africa shocked Mexico, then struggled. Ivory Coast were thrashed 7-1 by Germany before recovering. The pattern is always the same. African teams show enormous quality in bursts, then collapse under the sustained pressure of elite tournament football. Why? Because their domestic leagues don't prepare them for this level. Because pre-tournament preparation is inconsistent. Because the financial gap between African football federations and European ones means African players often arrive tired, underfunded, and undercoached compared to their opponents. And argument 5, the hardest one to say. Africa has a mental barrier at the World Cup, not because African players lack courage, not because they lack talent, but because for a century, the narrative has been written for them. Africa is the underdog. Africa is exciting, but inconsistent. Africa is the story, not the champion. And when you hear that story enough times, when your federation believes it, when your coach believes it, when the media writes it before a ball is kicked, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Morocco broke it in 2022. They reached the semifinals and showed the world that an African team could go toe-to-toe with France, Spain, and Portugal and match them. That was the moment the mental wall began to crack. So who is really to blame? FIFA for decades of structural inequality in qualification spots, CAF for corruption and underdevelopment, European clubs for extracting African talent and giving nothing back, and the global football media for writing Africa's story as one of potential but never destiny. But here is what I also know. 9 teams, knockout stage 2026. History being made right now in real time. Cape Verde, the smallest nation ever to reach the World Cup knockouts in their first ever tournament. Egypt winning their first ever World Cup match after 92 years of trying. DR Congo reaching the knockouts for the very first time. Africa is not behind anymore. Africa is arriving. And the question is no longer if Africa will win the World Cup. The question is, which African nation will be the first? And when that day comes, and it will come, the whole world will shake. This is Goal. Subscribe. Drop your comment below. Which African nation do you think will win the war?